Thank you so much for Sol Zinger, and he actually coined the term Startup Nation, which we all use now as if it was always here. Thank you so much. By the way, his new book, Signed, would be given for all the participants of Free Start IL conference. So you'll have a good reading to do. Sign the book. And now let's speak a little bit about the intersection between society and technology. Something which is very exciting is how technology can actually be used for social impact. How we can actually take technology for social good. And not only that we see more and more companies starting like with a dual mission of to do good and also to be a healthy commercial organization, we also see more and more funds changing the model of how funds operate or providing lending on a different model. So in this kind of like a few talks that we have now, we'll learn a little bit more about the investment community in Israel for to do good or social impact. I'll start with a conversation with Sagi, the CEO of OGEN. Sagi, just to get started for everybody here in the room, what does it mean to be a social financing investor?
Well, it's a big honor to speak after Sol, the author of Startup Nation. I'm here to speak about the non-startup nation, you know. And in Israel, we tend to speak a lot about startups and startup nation or technology, but most Israelis are not part of this yet. And they struggle, they have everyday struggle to bring bread and butter. And 45% of all businesses, of all employees in the business sectors are working for small businesses. 95% of all businesses in Israel are small businesses. And those businesses are struggling, and especially they are struggling in those times of war and during COVID. And they need solution. Banking sector in Israel is very concentrated. 5 banks controlling 95% of the market. And banks, they don't tend to lend to small pups and mums businesses, to restaurants, to food, to grocery stores, to barber shops, to retailers and etc. And this is a solution that was always needed. In some countries, there is a legislation solving that. In Israel, there is no. And we came up with a solution to help thousands of small businesses and families, low-income families and nonprofits with access to credit.
Sagi, that's very impressive, but here the question comes. My friend Yoel Cheshin will be talking with me later, told me he was the first investor at OGEN.
He was definitely.
And actually, he was a visionary to understand that being a social lender, it's not just about doing good, there's also a business model for that. And something which was surprising when I did some research for the talk with you today is that actually your default rate is similar to what you see in the banking industry. How come that you do social lending for those who are deprived of financing from the banking system, and still you operate on the same default ratio of normal banks?
So I think banks perceive risk not as risk is. And probably I'm always asking, what is riskier? To give a modest loan to somebody's housekeeper, low-income person, or we know, I don't want to mention names, but we know, high net worth individuals that took huge loans that are super leveraged, and many times they cannot repay their loans, and it's not necessarily clear which loan is riskier. And probably the housekeeper will work very hard to repay the loan. And this is the reason why OGEN has lent so far 2 billion shekels, and with a default rate of around 1%, even less than that.
Sagi, now the question, I know that you blend in some kind of a magical way between philanthropy and commercial investment. Could you actually a little bit mention what's this model of having philanthropy and commercial business at the same time?
Yeah, we are a nonprofit, and as many nonprofits, they just raise donations. But raising donations is very limiting. You can grow in a limited way. Businesses, they raise investment. We raise both. The way we do that, we offer investors a return on their investment in a market rate. It's a good investment. It's a good rate. When Yoel Cheshin, by the way, invested already twice with us, he's getting a nice return to an investment, but next to this return, he's also getting a social return as a bonus. The way we do that is we are de-risking the investment by philanthropic money. We are blending, it's like a blending. We're taking philanthropic money, okay? This philanthropic money will absorb the default, the risk of the loan, and then the investors can feel secured to invest with us, knowing that they'll get their money back.
That's incredible. Now a question, Sagi. I know that actually risk of private lenders normally tend to operate very differently than like assessing or doing due diligence on commercial risk. How much do you utilize technology, or what's the role of technology in actually evaluating risk or assessing risk of private loans?
Yeah, we have invested a lot in technology. The fact that we are a non-profit doesn't mean that we are not aspiring to be the most professional in all sense. So in the last few years, OGEN was connected to open banking. We are the first, by the way, non-bank that was connected to open banking in Israel. We were the first to connect to the Israeli rating database. And we have an algorithm that knows how to read checking accounts and knows how to give a ranking to, it's a ranking, by the way, it's not credit rating ranking, it's a ranking of financial behavior of a family. And we know how to assess a family and a business and know what is the probability that we'll be able to repay this loan.
Sagi, here it's incredible. You know, I did my research when I was still at Yale about kind of like a risk credit. And banks tend to go to financial data in order to assess the risk. So it's historical data, how you actually behave in your returning your loans, but actually individuals' loans, normally understanding their behavior, their morals, their kind of like their social life is a much better predictor to whether they'll return the loan or not. So do you go something like that on the financial credit model, or more on kind of like the social scoring or the social ranking of the individual?
It's like our social, like our resources are blended from philanthropy and investment the same. We are using regular tools like other credit providers in one hand, but in other hand we're using social tools to check behavior, to check financial behavior, and we are giving financial guidance and coaching to many of our customers when they come and they have a problem, they have low rating, they have debts. We give them an advisor to help them get rid of their situation and improve their situation.
That's incredible. Just a question, you know, after October 7th, I see that if you see advertisement in Israel, it's about taking a loan. Like everybody is advertising now, you can take loans. And we understand that actually there's financial kind of like crisis primarily for kind of like the households. How do you operate after October 7? Or what has changed after October 7 in the kind of like demand that you see or the way that you can operate a social lending business?
So all those commercials we see, they are not targeting low-income people. They are targeting those who can take a loan. And OGEN didn't spend even $1 shekel or dollar on commercial, but we are so flooded. We started our emergency plan to help people that were hit by the war on October 23rd. By the way, we start to plan this emergency plan on October 8th at 11 a.m. in the morning. We launched on October 23rd. In 6 weeks since then, we got 200 million shekels, or $80 million, in loan requests. This is a flood. Since then, we had to double our underwriting team. We had to really work approximately 14 hours, even, even the clerks, those who underwrite, everybody working around the clock, it's their reserves. And in a situation, many of our employees were called up to reserves, many, all the regular situation in Israel, very challenging, but we will feel very proud that we help those in the Gaza envelope, we help those small businesses, those small cafes that were shut down, still shut down, in the north, in the Lebanon border, in, those who were called up to reserves, they have no, they have no resources to cover up when they're in reserves. That's our reserve, that's what we do in, in the millions.
Wow, Sagi, that's really inspirational. I'm so happy that I had a chance to speak to you and understand what is a social lender and how you came so successful and actually as a blending philanthropy with commercial business in Israel. Thank you very much for the opportunity to learn more about
Thank you very
OGEN.
much.